costs, because I know Ms. Newman mentioned that, and you've probably heard in the news that PVCC is free this year. What that means is really that this fall, PVCC is making a promise that essentially, if you meet the criteria, and that's that you're a Virginia resident, that you're taking at least 6 credits, which again, remember, is typically going to be around 2 classes. And if your household family income is under $100,000, and that you have not already earned a bachelor's degree, which you haven't, because you're seniors in high school, then you attend for free in the fall. And that means that they will put together enough financial aid packages to cover your tuition cost. If you earn good grades and you successfully complete courses, then you attend for free again in the spring. So that is a guarantee for this coming year only. Whether or not that will be repeated next year, it is certainly our hope. And I think there is a kind of a push toward that in general. But that is, what's going on this year, and hopefully what we're moving to, but there are no guarantees yet, no announcement yet about next year. But something to think about when I'm talking about $10,000 for an associate's degree, 2 years of school, that is before any financial aid or scholarship. So many students, if you qualify for a full Pell Grant based on need, that typically covers full tuition. So that is one of the reasons that doing the FAFSA and doing some of your financial aid stuff early, no matter where you're going, is important. You don't have to know where you're going exactly to do the FAFSA. You can actually do it in October of this year, and we'll talk about that. But that helps you get a sense of how much aid you're going to qualify for and what college is really going to cost you. It's just nice to know that in advance. Okay, just want to show you that there is a link to the guaranteed admission agreements that Kemper mentioned. And again, these are agreements with the community college system with most schools in Virginia that say if you do these things while you're at PVCC, your admission is automatic. Okay, so if you wanted to research these, which might be a good thing for you to do if you're interested in this path, you can click on each of these links. For example, here's JMU. I'm going to look at their guaranteed admission agreement. And you can see here what it requires. So Associate of Arts or Associate of Science, minimum 3.0 GPA. That will be in PVCC classes, not your high school GPA, but it does include dual enrollment, okay? And then they might say no grades lower than a C. Again, that does include dual enrollment. And each agreement is going to be different. I will give you a heads up and tell you that UVA and a few other schools require a B or higher in English 111 and 112. That's something that's good to know before you go into English 111, 112, right? Now, again, a lot of students, like Kemper said, will go into these schools competitively because they may miss 1 or 2 of the requirements on here and they are accepted that way. So it doesn't mean that you're blocked from going to that school. But as far as meeting the criteria for the guaranteed admission, you need to do whatever is very specific to that school. And PVCC can help you with that too, your advisors can help you navigate that. Okay, and here's just the YouTube link, whoops, in case anybody wants to take a picture of that or screenshot it or something. If you scroll over into the middle of this, you'll see there's a panel of current students at PVCC, and there's also a panel of students who are currently at UVA. I think a couple of them are actually Albemarle grads. They're currently at UVA, transferred in from PVCC or another community college in Virginia. So this kind of gives you a chance to hear from them and hear their stories about transfer. I think it's really helpful. They did a great job. So earning these credits in high school, couple of ways to do that. AP classes, With AP classes, your credit is based on the exam score, and that is going to vary by school. Okay. So, if you're interested in trying to get that credit, then there are typically equivalency charts at every school. So for example, you can look at PVCC's AP equivalency chart. If you were to get a 3, 4, 5 on the art history AP exam, PVCC will give you credit for these courses, Art 101, Art 102. Okay. If you plan to transfer, that credit has to apply to the four-year school where you're planning to go. Okay. So that's something you can look at based on the specific schools you're interested in. Dual enrollment classes is another way that you are earning credit in high school toward college. Something to keep in mind is one class is credit for Albemarle and PVCC at the same time. Okay. And then the credit is based on the grade that you earn. Typically, they're only going to give you credit for a C or higher. That may vary slightly by school. So how courses are viewed in the admissions process and how they transfer varies greatly by school. So that's something that, it may not be what you're basing your search on, but when you start looking into narrowing down a couple of choices, those are just good things to know on the front end, like how they're accepting certain credits, and just be aware that that can be different for different colleges. So dual enrollment classes, you may know this if you took a dual class last year, you may have taken history. This year, you may be taking English, you may be taking government, possibly math. They are PVCC classes, but they're taught at Albemarle, on Albemarle's campus. But you are considered a PVCC student. So you have a PVCC student ID, you have PVCC grades, a separate transcript, a separate GPA. Okay. You also are, those resources are available to you as well, the writing center, tutoring, things like that. The classes are free. If you ever accidentally get a bill for a dual enrollment class, please do not pay it. Please just ignore it. Occasionally some lines get crossed and the bills will go out to dual students as well, but please ignore those if that happens. Most Albemarle dual courses actually equal 2 PVCC courses. So for example, if you're taking English 111, 112 next year, you are actually getting 2 separate courses, English 111, which would end at the end of the semester, and then you're starting English 112. So what this means is you actually have 2 separate grades, okay? At the end of the first semester, you will have a final grade in English 111 that will go on your PVCC transcript. You will start fresh in English 112. That will look different on your Albemarle transcript, where you're going to have a final grade for the whole year's course. If you're going to PVCC after high school, you do not need to send them a transcript because they have your information in the system. They have your grades. They can see what you've taken. If you are attending another college, your counselor does not send your PVCC transcript to those colleges. Again, the colleges, they're going to vary on how and when they want that PVCC transcript. Some of them want it when you apply. Some of them want it when you are offered admission. Some of them want it before you begin classes, or if you're trying to get credit for a specific thing. So again, that doesn't happen through Albemarle. You actually have to go to Parchment. And if you just Google PVCC transcript, it will come up with all the instructions on how to go to Parchment and make that request. And then it gets sent automatically from Parchment to the four-year college. It's also a good idea. I'll visit your dual classes and talk about this, but it's a good idea to log in at the end of each semester and just make sure your grades look right, your transcript looks right, because those are not things that you can see in PowerSchool. So you want to be sure that transcript is accurate before you're sending it off to those four-year colleges. So if you are planning to go to PVCC, you would meet with me, apply. And most of you have already done that through dual enrollment. You have to apply to do that. Complete the FAFSA for financial aid. Again, this opens October 1st. I recommend anybody going to college in the country to complete this sooner rather than later. You're going to be doing the 2022-23 FAFSA. So that'll open in October. And you can look for events that the school will have for help on that. PVCC students, you can have the option to register at the high school in usually April or May. They'll have those events. So you can actually get your fall schedule done before you graduate. And do your best. You know, a lot of people think with PVCC being open admission that your grades don't matter, but your high school GPA is one of the factors they use to determine your placement into class levels. So it still is important. And that's it on PVCC. Generally speaking, you know, I just urge you all to use the resources that you have. You have some wonderful resources at the school, and particularly Miss Newman. And it's awesome that she's doing this. It's awesome that you guys are here in the summer thinking about this in advance. I think that will hopefully cut down on your stress levels. And I hope that this will be as relaxing a process as possible, knowing that there is a place out there for everyone. And also to just take some time to reflect on yourself. It's an easy time to be getting lots and lots and lots of input from lots and lots of people. And so don't lose your own thoughts on what you want and what is a good fit for you in that process. So does anybody have any questions right now? I'm not sure exactly the breakdown of what, you know, the group and what your plans are. I know that might be different for different people. And you're also welcome to email me at any time. You could reach out to Miss Newman, or I will put my email in the chat. And I have had even like 9th and 10th graders reach out and talk just about what the options are. So, you know, meeting with me is not like you're setting something in stone. It's just to get information. I'm happy to sit down and do that with you too. Ms. Newman, is there?
We'll focus our questions today on if you have dual enrollment questions or dual enrollment transfer questions or PVCC questions. We'll hold FAFSA questions until later in the week, because we're going to do a day just on, or a session just on like looking for scholarships and aid. So Ms. Ratliff will be back in then to answer questions about that. So are there any dual enrollment or PVCC questions?
So I do see a question, Ella, about dual classes being weighted. So that varies by high school. Ms. Newman, I think they're weighted the same at Albemarle now. Is that right? They're both weighted 1 point. Yeah. So yeah, that can vary by school, but I think most of the Albemarle schools, they're weighted 1 point.
Other questions? Okay. You're welcome to hang on if you want to chat with Ms. Ratliff before she signs off today. Our next session will be at 10 tomorrow morning. I have added to your agenda. We were going to go through structuring the college essay. We're still going to do that tomorrow at 10 a.m. But I've added a section because I looked at the feedback forms and several of you were asking for me to talk about each of the individual prompts for the Common App and the Coalition App and give you some tips. So I'm going to do that tomorrow morning as well. So it'll be a 2-part session. So that's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We'll do structuring the college essay, and then I'll talk a little bit about each of the prompts. Remember, you have 2 brainstorming activities that we've done so far, and to continue to play around in Naviance. Let us know if you have any questions about any of that. as we go forward tomorrow. So there's a 10 a.m. session tomorrow, and then the afternoon session tomorrow will introduce you and get you onto Common App or Coalition App, and try and link that to Naviance. And Ms. Parsons will be back in to help with that. So you're welcome to hang around if you have questions for either one of us. Otherwise, it was good to see you. I'll see you again at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And you'll see I've updated the agenda, and I'll update the agenda again with this video if you want to rewatch it. Any questions, Ari or Cora?
Yes. So I'm trying to figure for dual enrollment, so like a normal semester college course is usually like a condensed version of a year of high school. But if we're taking it at the high school, it's going to be like 2 of those back to back, and they're only going to account for 1 year of high school instruction instead. If that makes sense.
Yeah, essentially. So like English
Okay.
111, 112 is the English class that's offered.
Okay. So it doesn't count for 2 high school years instead.
Right. It sort of counts for English 12, essentially, for your 12th grade English class.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many
like, I don't
credits
know
it
if
is
you
for
did
college?
history last year, but that's like history 121 and then 122.
Okay.
And how many college credits is it? Do you know?
There's 6, so
6,
3
right.
for each. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the key is just remembering that, like, oh, at the end of the semester, it's not really my midterm grade on the PVCCN, it's my final in that class. And then it's a separate course. So it's kind of structured 2 different ways, depending on which end you're looking at it from.
Any other questions? Ari, any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had anything specific to add about what happened yesterday that wasn't on like the online stuff, because I did not attend the actual sessions yesterday.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the agenda?
I do.
Okay, so if you look at day 1, it should have links to the video if you want to watch the video, and then it's got like the to-dos, so it's got like a little checklist for you to do, and it's got some links there. So I think if you just do those things, you'll be all caught up.
Alrighty.
Okay, yeah. Good. I'm glad you could join us. Good to see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was last summer I attended a Hollins University essay workshop.
Yeah.
And I actually got to submit a mock college essay that was reviewed by actual admissions people, and they really liked it. So I was happy about that.
Yay. All right. Sounds good. Can't wait to look at it.
Later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Well, I hope that was okay. I hope I touched on the things you were looking for, and I try to think about the things that seniors are typically asking me, you know, when they reach out during their senior year. So
yeah. No, I think